All right, you're listening to episode number 16 of the podcast, and thank you for being here. And today I want to talk about something that happens actually quite often in real life scenarios, and that is when you are you have a plan. You have a plan for yourself that you're going to lose weight, and you have these ideas of what you're going to do. Maybe you've planned your day, whatever it is, and guess what? Your day goes to shit. It happens all the time, doesn't it? You go to work and all of a sudden there's a birthday party, or people want to go out for lunch that day, or there's a new client dinner that you need to go out to, and you haven't even been able to look at what's going on, or what restaurant you're going to, or maybe you come home from a day at work and your spouse is like, guess what? We're going out to dinner. Or there's a birthday that's happening and you're like, okay, I'll go to the birthday. Here's kind of what the things I might eat. And then it turns out that you get there and it's all different food, right? So what do you do during those days? Or maybe you have a super stressful day. That happens a lot, right? I live here in Las Vegas, and just imagine for a moment here, driving at 5 o'clock traffic in Las Vegas gets pretty busy. And I hear there's some other places. I think Boise, Idaho has like really bad traffic. Obviously places like LA and everything. And if you're anything like me, then you're driving in a somewhat stressful situation sometimes, and you have to deal with that. And then when you get home, you might be looking for that little distraction or something to get your mind off of being, the stresses of driving there. Okay. So that's what we're going to kind of talk about today. And real quick, a little update on what I've been doing here lately. A lot of you have been following me for a while, and some of you are clients of mine, past clients of mine, and you know that I used to teach low carb weight loss, how to lose weight going on a low carb diet. Some people would want to do keto, other people, not necessarily keto, but they'd want to do like a low carb kind of plan. So like maybe less than 100 grams of carbs a day or something, and upping the protein. Now, I did that and I was very successful at helping people to lose weight. However, you know what? Not everybody wants to go on a low carb diet to lose weight. Or maybe some people want to lose weight using a low carb method, but they don't want to necessarily stay low carb for the rest of their life. And maybe you've done something like that. Maybe you've done something where you've tried a certain kind of diet and it worked a little bit, but then you really couldn't stick with it because it's not really the foods that you want to eat and the things you want to do, right? And, I've pivoted since then because I want to be able to help basically really anyone who wants help losing weight. But I kind of focus my instruction, my teaching, my course and everything that I do based around people who are in similar situations like me, because, I know that situation best. That doesn't mean that my weight loss things that I teach won't work for other people. Of course it will. It just means that certain materials that I give out might be a little more geared towards someone who is a busy professional, a business, a business owner, an entrepreneur, or they travel a lot for work. Maybe they're a sales agent, maybe they're an executive, like a VP, a P, or something. And you just have a lot of your day is hectic. Your schedule changes all the time, and you just don't really know, well, what am I supposed to eat? And sometimes low carb is not always practical in certain situations, or you just don't want to do low carb. So I help people in situations like that learn how to lose weight and do it sustainably by building new habits. And I am currently building my course around that. It's called the Focused Fork Reset. And I'm super excited about it because I literally can show anybody, but it's really tailored for that person who is busy and travels a lot for work or something, how they can lose weight and maintain the same lifestyle that they're doing right now. And I talk about mindfulness, but I also have to address things like emotional eating, because for a lot of people who are in certain kinds of jobs, you get stressed out a little bit. Your work day is long maybe, and things happen, and then you come home and you're either looking for something really quick because you're driving home and you're like, let me just stop at McDonald's and get something, because the last thing I want to do right now is go home and cook a bunch of food that's all healthy and takes forever, and recipes and all those things, right? And sometimes it might even be like a stay-at-home mom or dad. And it's a kind of a similar situation. Like me, I'm kind of like all of those situations. I'm a business owner. I'm very busy with what I do with those things. Coach, so I'll do coaching calls and stuff. But I'm also a dad, and I have 4 kids, and we deal with that. And we want to be able to spend time with the family, spend time with my wife, and it's a lot going on. So we have to figure out how to kind of organize ourselves to deal with these things. And that really is the secret, by the way, when it comes to sustainable weight loss. There's the actual things in the world that will help you to lose weight by consuming less food, less calories, getting some movement in your day. Those are the actual doing out in the world. But the real gold here is being able to maintain it, and how you deal with your thoughts, how you are being and acting in certain situations, because you can have the best program that's out there, but if you keep self-sabotaging yourself, then it doesn't matter how good the program is that you're following. It's just not going to work, right? And we want to stop that. We want to find a path that is doable, and not only that, but a system, a process, or a way. Or if you're if you're a business owner, a coach, or something, you might know kind of like a framework that you can follow, that every time something happens, then you can do this. And every time that happens, then you can do this, right? And these things will help you get better over time. Not be perfect right now today, not be perfect at any point really, but how can you get better over time at doing these things? And that's really where the gold is when it comes to losing weight. You have to work on yourself. You have to work on yourself. And this is why so many diets fail people, is because they really don't address the psychological things of losing weight. They just address the physical things. So yes, I'm drafting up my program, and I'm really excited. I'm showing people how to improve over time rather than just jumping head first into some kind of diet that you don't really want to do. And I'm showing people how to lose weight without formal exercise as well, because look, I go to the gym. I love the way the gym makes me feel. I'm not in love with going to the gym, if that makes sense. I love it when it's done and I feel great. But it's a little bit of a challenge going sometimes. And I know that is the same for a lot of my listeners and the people who follow me. They're just super busy and they want to be healthy, but going to the gym 5 days a week probably isn't really the main thing that they're doing. So I got to meet people where they're at. So I show them how to lose weight without doing that. That's what I'm kind of crafting in my program. And you know what? Also, there's no real meals. Like, I'm not here to give people recipes, because you really don't need a recipe to lose weight. You don't need recipes. What you need is a system and process of what to do, to how to consume a little bit less food than what you've been consuming already, and how to, for the most part, okay, not be perfect, but have progress at getting better at doing it. That is what we all need to achieve sustainable weight loss. And I'm putting that program together right now. And so I'm really excited about that. That's what I've been up to lately. I've been working really hard at it. And I've been asking people questions like, what do you need? What is it that will help you as somebody who travels a lot, or other people who they don't travel a lot, but they just have a really freaking crazy schedule? What is it that you're looking for? And I'm putting that into a program. So if you'd like to, sample my coaching style, I've already put together the 3-day mini course that you can take. It's at focusedforkreset.com/free. And the link is in the show notes. You can always take that free course 100% free. And I'm going to show you 3 things along those lines of what I've just talked about. Okay. 3 things that you can start doing to lose weight that has nothing to do with going on a diet, but will help you to start losing weight in a sustainable way. So go ahead and take that if you like. And with that, let's start talking about, how it would help somebody if just the day goes to shit, what would you do? Now, there's an infinite number of scenarios that could happen that you run into. And inside the program that I'm putting together, I actually have some scenarios completely played out and showing how somebody deals with that day, what they did, and what they did in relation to what I provide in the program. So in this particular case, I've just picked out a few. I put some bullet points here on the computer so that I remember which things I wanted to tell you as far as scenarios go. So I'm going to run through a few scenarios. Now, these scenarios of when your day kind of goes to crap and you had a plan, and how would I maybe coach you to start thinking about getting through these things? And it's not always about me giving you the answers, because I'm a coach, okay? Teaching gives you answers. Coaching helps you find the answers for yourself so that you can apply it, because I'm not you, and you're not that person, you're not that person. And if I just give a general, this is what you do, right? It'll work for some people, probably won't work for everybody. So you have to use your brain, all right? You have to use your brain to do just a little bit of self-coaching, and I can point you in those right directions to get it, but we're all different. And because we are all different, you have to take part in some of it. You have to take part in some of it, all right? Because I can't do the work for you as a coach. And all right, so with that said, let's talk about like scenario number 1 here, and that I put on here. And I said, so let's just say, you're working, all right, and you're at your job, and all of a sudden something happens and you have to work late. Now, you had a plan, okay, just like, okay, super side note here. I love this quote. It's from Mike Tyson. He said, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. Oh, that's such a great quote. But that applies here. All right. So maybe you had a plan for your day. You knew kind of what you were going to eat for dinner, and you had a plan, and then all of a sudden you need to stay late for work, whatever it is. All right. Some scenario where you had a plan for dinner, and now, something else is going on and you can't do that. In this case, where your boss says, hey, everybody, we have to stay late. This project's coming in, the client called. We got to get this done by tomorrow morning, and we don't want to come in early, so let's just finish it tonight. So the boss decides, I'm going to order pizza for everybody, and we will eat here at work, and then we will, we'll have dinner. We'll have dinner eating pizza. That's what it's going to be. Well, problem is you weren't thinking that you're going to be eating pizza tonight. You were thinking, I'm going to eat some chicken and vegetables or whatever. Maybe it was Chipotle on the way home, and you had a plan of what you're going to buy. Now, how would you deal with that? You're trying to lose weight, and I don't think I need to convince you that pizza is not a weight loss food, right? It's more weight gaining kind of food. However, the good thing is that when it comes to losing weight, the quality of food that you eat is good to focus on, but not the most important when it comes to losing weight. Okay. If you're over-consuming food, which that's what most of my clients are having struggles with, is that you're over-consuming food. Well, if that's the case, then let's just take a look at it for a moment. If you were to order a pizza today, okay, how many slices would you normally eat? Now, obviously, I can't answer that for you, but let's just say you could eat 4 slices on your own. Maybe it's 5, but okay. So cut it in half, right? Or eat 1 less slice than what you normally would eat. You normally would eat 4 slices and you would have a large soda. Then how about instead of 4 slices, you eat 3 slices, and instead of a large soda tonight, you're going to drink some water. Or at the very worst, a small soda, right? So you're consuming less. And what I'm talking about here is having the ability to be flexible, being able to kind of bob and weave and work with what's going on in your life and not be too rigid. Trust me, I know about being rigid because that's how I was. If you go back to episode 1 about my story, you hear about my whole issues with eating and how I had really a little bit of disordered eating because I was trying to eat super clean and super perfect. And I was very rigid and I wasn't flexible at all. And you can be flexible and still lose weight. People who have a normal weight, guess what? They are flexible. Sometimes they eat ice cream. Sometimes they don't eat ice cream. Sometimes they'll have a slice of pizza. Other times they don't have a slice of pizza. Okay? This one meal likely won't throw you completely off track if in general you're doing pretty good. All right? So even if you did overconsume this one time, it's not going to be the end of the world. Okay? So the first thing I would say is, if what's being delivered, how can you maybe, if you're going to eat just that, how can you eat just a little bit less of it tonight and not have quite as much? And it is fine to start eating a slice. Let's say, you went back for that 4th slice and you eat a few bites and then you stop and you throw it away. All right. You're not wasting food. You're just not over-consuming the food. It's okay to leave bites behind. It's okay not to eat the entire thing. So feel free to throw away what you're not eating. Don't eat the crust if you normally eat the crust. All right? Let's see what else I put on here. So if your day happens like that, then, so I mentioned if this is a regular occurrence, so if you're always being asked to stay late and your day kind of goes to crap at the end of the night and everything, then this is an opportunity for you to start thinking to yourself, how can I start dealing with this situation? Because it's happening on a regular basis. And now that might be something like, you could tell the boss, hey, look, we stay after a lot. And I know I really appreciate that you order pizza for us all the time. Is there any way that we could get maybe a small microwave and a small refrigerator that we can maybe put some food in there and everything? Because honestly, I don't always feel like eating pizza. It's fine to be honest with them. And maybe then you can start putting in there like a frozen meal, like an Atkins protein frozen meal or something that you could use, or whatever you want to put in there, whatever kind of food you want to put in there. And you can store it in there for when it's time to stay late, and you can microwave it and you're good to go. And I said refrigerator, but I guess in that case you need a freezer, right? But you just got to sit and think. Just sit and think, this is what's happening. How can I deal with it? Maybe you tell the boss that instead of eating pizza, just a bunch of pizza, is there any way that maybe, you're still ordering from wherever it is, but maybe you could also order salad. They have like side salads there. So can you order a little salad and the pizza as well? And we could do something like that. Or maybe there's some kind of protein, there's chicken that you can order or something. So you just got to think about it and use your brain a little bit and figure it out. Trust me, it is figure outable. All right. Okay. So, now before I move on to the next one, what I'm trying to help you with is to avoid stress eating and on the moment, spur of the moment kind of eating. We want to have more of a, hey, I got this. This is happening. Guess what? I already figured it out. Here's how I'm going to handle it. And if it's brand new spur of the moment kind of thing, then you just think to yourself, okay, well, I normally would eat that much. How can I eat maybe just a little bit less of that? Or maybe I have that kind of drink. Maybe I have water instead. It's a little bit less calories, right? Okay. Or if it's a one-off thing and you do it, then you know what? I mean, for crying out loud, it's one time. It's not gonna set you back way back. All right. Unless you let it. And that's the whole mindset thing, right? Okay. So how about this scenario? Everyone decides to go out to dinner at the last minute and you hadn't planned for it. All right. Now this could be, again, people at work, or maybe you come home from your day and your spouse is like, hey, yeah, you know what? We all want to go out to dinner. The kids, maybe your kids are older. They're like, yeah, they want to go out to dinner time. We're all going to go. Okay, where you're like, well, great. You know, I wasn't going to eat at Cheesecake Factory tonight. It's Cheesecake Factory. I need cheesecake if I go to a Cheesecake Factory, right? Or something. So how could you handle that situation? What I would do is tell you, first of all, if you have time, why don't you just go ahead and look ahead at what the menu is? Because you can pull that up on your phone and see what's there. What can you order ahead of time when you're not in the spur of the moment thing and the waiter's like, okay, I'll be back in 1 minute to take your order. And you're like scanning real quick. What can I get? What can I get? And especially at the Cheesecake Factory, the freaking menu is like 50 pages long. It's crazy, but the food still tastes good. But how can you use a more calmer moment to make a more wise decision? So if you can look up the menu before you get there and make your decision on what you're going to eat ahead of time is going to be very helpful, because you can probably make more mindful decisions that way. Now, when you get there, okay, when it comes time to eating your food, eat your food mindfully. All right. Now, if you are with a group of people, you might be engaged in conversation and stuff, or maybe you're the kind of person who's on your phone a lot while you're eating and everything. You need to try and limit the distractions. And sometimes a distraction can be a good thing, but maybe I forget if I mentioned that on here, but I'll try to circle back to that one. But limit the distractions. Now, it's fine to talk and everything, but when you're talking, keep in mind the food that you're eating. You do not want to overconsume your food. So try not to eat too fast, eat a little bit slower, and just check in with yourself. How hungry am I? Am I good enough? Did I eat enough food to sustain me? And I'm not like Thanksgiving full where I have to unbutton my pants. And then on top of that, I'm going to eat cheesecake. All right. So try to slow it down. Try to eat mindfully. Pay attention to what you're eating. Pay attention to how it tastes, how it smells. If you're touching the food, how does it feel? And really be in touch with the food. Okay. Because when you slow down your eating, what happens is you give the food time to digest and time to hit your stomach and signal to your brain, hey, I'm good. But if you eat that hamburger in 30 seconds, your brain does not have time to receive a signal that you've had enough food. All right. Another option you could do, let's say, when you have food in front of you, you have a really hard time at not eating all of it, like you have to eat it all. Then something you could do is maybe just tell the waiter, hey, could you box up half of my entree? I'm not going to be able to eat all of it. So I want to take some of it home. Just bring half of it boxed up already. You know what? I mean, why not? You can do that. And then box it up, bring it, put it in a bag, set it there, and you eat what's in front of you. And guess what? You're eating less food today. Another one would be, can you split your meal with somebody? Cheesecake Factory has pretty big portion sizes. I know that. And maybe somebody will split something with you. Maybe you can't eat the entire hamburger. So you cut it in half and you split it with somebody and you just cut your meal in half, right? Half the fries. They get half the fries. Or even if it's just the hamburger and you keep the fries, or you guys order extra or something. You could always just at the spur of the moment, I think that we all kind of, if you're an adult and you're somewhat educated in food in any kind of way probably have a decent idea of what is going to be more calorie dense and what's going to be less calorie dense, or at the very least, what is more healthy for you and what is less healthy for you, right? I mean, I don't really need to tell you that eating salmon and broccoli is going to be a better option than eating a big, let's say, bowl of macaroni and cheese when it comes to losing weight. So look at your protein. Where can I think like protein focused? Now, maybe you just get like the salmon and some broccoli, and then maybe a little rice on the side or something. And the rice, you just eat the rice last. So you eat your protein and your veggies first. And then maybe that's good enough and you don't need to eat the rice. But then if you want to eat some rice, then you can have some rice. But think about eating the order in which you eat your food. Maybe you eat the more calorie dense foods last so that you're not eating so many calories, right? Okay. And then another thing would be if all else fails, okay, this is my fallback for you. If all else fails and you just can't figure it out, then you remember this: 3 of 5, okay? You get 3 of the 5. So when you go out to dinner, a lot of times you get 5 servings of things. You get bread, you get appetizer, you get entree, you get dessert, and you get some kind of drink, okay? So that's 5 things. And you are going to choose 3 of them. Now, it might be 2 or maybe it's 4. I don't know. But in general, choose 3 out of 5. All right. And the reason why I say it could be different is it depends on the restaurant you go to. Maybe they don't serve bread. But in this case, so you can have 3 of them. What would that be? All right. Let's say you're going to have a little bit of bread. So you're going to skip the appetizer, and then you're going to have an entree, and then you're going to have dessert. And the drink, by the way, when I say drink, what I'm referring to is alcohol for one, or some kind of sugary drink like a soda or something. And if you're going to have, let's say you're at Cheesecake Factory, so you're getting cheesecake because I got to have cheesecake when I go to the Cheesecake Factory, though I do skip it sometimes, but about 90% of the times I get the cheesecake. So, okay, let's say you're going to get the cheesecake, you're going to get the entree, and you're going to have some bread. Well, then you're going to skip the appetizer and you're going to skip the sugary drink. You're going to get water or unsweetened iced tea, or maybe you get some coffee that's not sweetened or anything. Then you go with that. Or maybe it's the appetizer. So then you get the appetizer, the entree, and you have some alcohol, but then you're skipping the dessert and the bread. That's the fallback, 3 out of 5. Because normally, maybe you're having the 5 out of 5, right? So if we dial that back, guess what? You're consuming less calories, right? Okay. So that's going out to dinner. Of course, there's a lot more little scenarios and little tips that I could give you there and everything, but we can go on and on forever, right? All right. What about if you are traveling and your flight is delayed, or there's some kind of traffic jam and you miss your meal, or it's a late arrival at a hotel and your food options are limited? Then what I would say, it depends on which situation, because I gave a few situations there, but let's just say you're coming in late, your flight was delayed, but you're coming in late and you don't have time to go out to dinner. Maybe you were thinking you're going to eat a certain thing or something, and now you just need to grab a quick bite and get back to the hotel room. Then when you're on the flight, if you have Wi-Fi, then look up at your hotel what's around there that you could eat. And look ahead, just like I talked about earlier, where you look ahead instead of just winging it at the moment. Look ahead and see, what are my options? What can I do? Use your calm, focused, you have time to deal with it mind, versus the I'll just figure it out when I get there. And then you get there and you're like, I don't know, give me the double cheeseburger, extra large fries, and an extra large Coke. All right. We want to avoid that, the spur of the moment kind of thing. Because if the struggle has been with overeating, then we want to deal with overeating, right? And the best way to deal with overeating is really coming up with a plan. Come up with a plan on how to deal with it. So if you can think about like protein focused and maybe even veggie focused, leaning, like you're leaning more centered, I suppose is a better way to say it. Your protein and veggie centered would be better, but is not necessary. Okay. Because like I said, the most important factor is the quantity of the food that you're eating. But what does help is the quality of the food. All right. Certain foods will make you feel full for a longer period of time and even faster. So protein, as an example, is going to help keep you more satiated, meaning you're going to stay full longer than if you just ate a bunch of carbohydrates and sugar and everything. So your blood sugar will spike and then it'll dip. And now you're going to be having cravings and you're going to want more food. Where if you have more protein, then maybe your energy level is going to be kind of steady and you're not going to be looking for more food when your blood sugar crashes. Again, look, you don't have to be on a specific diet. I'm just giving options here. Options, there's better options. There's great options. There's good options. And then there's options, right? The most basic option is you didn't plan for it. You went there, you see the food, you buy whatever food it is you're buying, and then you're going to eat it mindfully, paying attention how hungry you are, and you're not going to eat all of it if you don't need to eat all of it. A better option than that is you do that, but at the same time, you plan for it ahead of time. You look ahead and what kind of foods can I get that's a little bit better? And then you can even make that a little bit better. You could do like I said, protein centered and everything, but you don't have to do all of that stuff. Just do something, okay? And you get better at it over time. I can't stress that enough. Don't try doing everything. Don't try to be perfect at it. Just do a little better than you've been doing, and you're going to be good. All right. So in that here, let's see, what else under that topic did I say? You can always take the food back to your hotel room and, where you can only eat a certain amount. So if you go to a restaurant or if it's fast food and you eat at the fast food place, the access to the food is very easy, right? You can just simply walk up to the counter, get more food or get another refill on your drink. Super easy. But if you take it back to the hotel room, then your food proximity is not very close, right? So it's going to be hard to get more. So buy what in your brain you're thinking this would be the proper amount of food for me tonight without over consuming, and take it with you and go to the hotel room. And now you don't have the food proximity of being really close to make it easy on you. All right. If you're getting in this case, I put on there, well, what if it's a food truck? Okay. So what if you're, you're running late, you were in traffic and all that, and there's a food truck there and you want to get something at the food truck. Well, have the people, I don't know, whatever it is. Let's just say it's a Mexican food. Okay. Have them cut the burrito in half, wrap up that part, and the other part you can eat in the car on the way home or something. All right. Or maybe you're traveling with somebody and ask them, hey, let's get a burrito. I'm going to give you half. I'll take the other half. And you can also tell the people at the food truck, can you make it with less ingredients? Whatever, I don't want rice in there. All right. Just dialing it back a little bit to consume a little bit less. There's always options. You just want to avoid, and I know I sound like a broken record here, but I'm trying to beat it into your head that we want to avoid rash decisions on the moment, spur of the moment. Just give me this. We want to think and use our brain a little bit. Okay. Let's see. What's another one I put here? Surprise birthday party at work. So you go to work and what do you know? It's Janet's birthday party today, and there's cake, there's ice cream, there's all these things. And you were like, well, I wasn't planning on eating cake and ice cream because you know what? I'm trying to lose a little bit of weight. And what do? Okay. So, this is something that, you can't really plan for too well unless there's always birthday parties going on, then you can start planning for it. Right. But, in this case, a couple options, if you really don't want any, now maybe you want some because you like the taste and you want the food like that, but in your head, I don't want any today. Then tell people that. It's okay to tell people no. And if they think you're weird, then they can go suck it. All right. But instead of saying no, I want to clarify this with the way that you word it, because you'll get a different response from people depending on how you word it. If you tell somebody, I can't have any cake, I'm sorry, then that opens up their question, well, why can't you? Right? And then you get into this whole thing of you're trying to lose weight and and then they'll try and convince you of like, oh, it's just one bite. It's just one bite. One bite's not going to hurt you. And, I really hate it when people say that to me. And now it's not their fault because they don't really know. And their intentions are good and they are correct. One bite or one little slice of cake isn't going to be the end of the world. Problem is those people don't know you very well. Well, some may, but a lot of them might not. So what they might not know is that one bite of cake or that one slice of cake could throw you into a tailspin of just giving up on everything you were doing. And you feel like you've messed up your day. So the rest of the day, you're going to eat whatever you want. The rest of the week, you're going to eat whatever you want. You're just going to start whenever. And trust me, it happens often to people. But they're not thinking that. They're just thinking, oh, it's just one bite, just one slice of cake. And for you, it's a whole other can of worms, isn't it? So, and then also if you say, I can't, that's kind of reinforcing in your brain that you are on a diet. And we don't want to be on a diet. We want to learn how to consume the foods that we already like and enjoy eating, but consume them properly with a little bit less, with a little bit more intention, right? We want to build better habits around the foods that we already have. And if you say, I can't, then you're really telling yourself that you have restriction going on. And when you restrict, you bounce back really hard a lot of times. And we want to avoid that. So if you simply say this instead of saying, I can't, you say, I don't want any right now. Just say that. No, thanks. I don't really want any right now. If it's morning time, say I had a big breakfast this morning and I'm good. Maybe I'll come back a little bit later. All right. Save me some for a little bit later or something. Just tell them that. And then they're not going to say, well, why can't you or anything? They're not going to say those things because you left it open that you can. And in fact, you're even telling yourself, which you're allowed to have a slice of cake if you want a slice of cake. But you know what? You don't want any right now. All right. Well, maybe later. Okay. Thanks. Right? So do it like that. Something else you could do is you can maybe split the slice of cake with somebody because I'm around a lot of adults, all right? And I've been to a lot of birthday parties and other kinds of parties. And I got to tell you, almost everyone is not wanting to eat a whole big slice of cake. The kids always want the slice of cake and they want the ice cream. The adults are like, no, I better not eat any right now. No thanks. They really want it. So if you looked at them and said, hey, you want to split a thing of cake? I don't really think I can eat a whole slice right now. Maybe just a half a slice. Do you want the other half? Ask somebody. You know what? Then you're not eating quite as much, right? And maybe then if they say no and you still want some because you want to partake in, the party and everything, then you have a choice. You can eat all of the cake, slice of cake. And if you do, you have to do so with no guilt. Okay. That's very important. If you make a decision for yourself, stand by it and do it. And just realize that the very next thing I'm going to do is going to be a good thing. The thing that I'm on track with. But on this thing, I'm going to give myself the flexibility to eat this today. And it's not going to derail me. And then the other option, of course, too, is if you eat the food, you don't have to eat all of it. Take a few bites, throw it away. All right? You're not there's always going to be people starving in the world. So don't tell yourself, well, there's people starving in the world, so I need to eat all of this because there's people starving in the world. Well, you know what? You eating all of the cake versus half of the cake is going to do exactly zero for people who are starving in the world. Okay? So don't use that as a justification to overconsume the food. All right? Okay, so that's a scenario that you could go through. And what I'm trying to show you here is that everything is achievable. Okay? Everything is figure outable. That's a book, and I love that book by Marie Forleo. Everything is figure outable. All right, great book. You should get it. And then the last one I have here is, and this one's a big one, by the way. Stressful eating, emotional eating. So maybe you had a stressful day at work or argument with the family or something, whatever it is, it stressed you out. All right. And sometimes, a lot of my clients actually, they have challenges with stress eating. And stress eating, really, what is it? Are you really hungry? No, not really. But what is it really? It's more of a distraction, It takes your mind off of whatever that stress was. Because right now, you're doing this. Right now, the food I'm eating, it tastes good. I can eat, I can focus on the food. I don't need to think about other stuff right now. It gives me a break, gives me a little space. So if that's your if that's the problem that you're running into, which, by the way, I have a very good process at helping people deal with this in detail inside the program that I'm building, the Focus Fork Reset. So if that is something that you're struggling with, then I can help you with that. I can help you through it. All right. But in general, the first thing I would say is ask yourself, what is it that I really need right now? Do I really need this food? Or am I just needing a break? And it can mask itself. It can mask itself like you really need the food. But in reality, you don't need the food. You just need the break. So what else could you do? Could you go for a walk instead of eating the food? Could you say, all right, well, here's what I'm going to do. Before I eat the food, I'm going to give myself just a little bit of space. I'm going to go for a walk around the block. I'm going to think about some things. When I come back, if I still need to eat, then I'll eat. But I'm going to give myself just a little bit of space before I dive right into that, because I don't really want to do that, but right now I just need something. For some people, it's a drink, and not alcohol. For some people, it is alcohol, I guess, but that's not what I'm referring to here. I mean, like you can focus yourself on, like, you just need to put something in your mouth, so you just get some tea, get some coffee, get some water, a flavored drink or something, and drink that and change your attention. All right? Because that's really what the food is doing. The food is simply helping us to shift our attention to something else. And how can we shift our attention to something else without eating food? And if it is food, then maybe you can reach for something that isn't going to really, be heavy in calories. So maybe that's like beef jerky, or maybe you can eat some yogurt or something. But it doesn't always have to be sweets. It doesn't always have to be a bag of chips. Maybe you grab pork rinds. Pork rinds are a little better than regular Doritos if you're trying to lose weight. So think about some of those things. Let's see. And then, if it happens a lot, then what you need to do is you need to find out, what is that root problem? What is the root thing that keeps happening that's causing me to emotionally eat? And you're going to have to deal with it, because the food is not the answer. The food is a distraction. So you need to, honestly, I'll just put it straight up. You need to be an adult. You need to be an adult. You need to say, I'm having these issues and I need to figure out how to solve them. And the first thing I would say is start writing in a journal, start writing some thoughts out, what's going on and how can you deal with it. Okay. So like I said, I guide people on very specific questions that I ask, that I poke at them to start thinking their way through, to flush out what's going on and what to do instead. That's in my course. But if you would like to sample my coaching style, if this stuff is kind of resonating with you, take my free course. All right. focusforkreset.com/free and take the course, and I'll help you through how to lose weight without going on a freaking diet all the time. All right. How can we start achieving sustainable weight loss? I'm going to give you 3 really, really good tips in there on what to do. It's a video course, and it's an actual course. Okay. You get a guide, and you get some cheat sheets, and you get actual stuff that you print out and do. Okay. It's not just here's a nice little tip that I posted on social media to go watch. No, this is an actual course that has guides and has cheat sheets and worksheets and everything in it. Okay. It's something that honestly I could pay for. I could charge for rather, but I'm giving it to you for free because I care and I want to help. All right. And then, that's about it for this episode. Thank you so much for listening. I hope it was helpful. And if you have questions, head over to my Instagram, john.hoff35, and ask, send me a message, ask me a question. Let me know what you thought about this podcast episode. I always love to hear from everybody. And if you really liked the episode, I would really appreciate a review. That would be super cool. But you know what? If you don't have time, I get it. We're all busy. So until next time, you have a wonderful day.